in the Obama administration. It was one of the most kind of magical feelings of life, right? You really do get swept up in the feeling that the work you're doing in the EEOB or in the Obama government is work that, you might never get a chance to do again, or is magical every day. There's a new bill being signed, a new issue being tackled, and things just move like that. I remember, again, as an intern, you're an intern, right? Your guy's just helping move things along. But I remember I worked in the Office of Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, right, which deals with all the religious organizations around the country and kind of being a liaison with them. And I remember every single Islamic organization in the country just thinking I was the most incredible person, right? Islamic Relief would be like, Mohamed, you made it. You're one of our people is in here doing things. Yeah. So I remember that felt really cool. To address my faith in the government, I again, this kind of goes to what I was just saying a few minutes ago, which is I try to make sure I never go too much this way or that way, right? Is my faith in the government less now than it was then? Undoubtedly, right? Am I at a point where I think that the government is beyond saving or the government is inherently bad? No. Unfortunately, in my opinion, you have a lot of young politicians, mashallah, in my opinion, the Squad and people like them, who have really bright ideas that are threatening to a lot of people, right? And politicians, more than anything, is a field and an industry where a lot of old heads stay in power for a long time, and they stay in power by adhering to the same playbook that has been used for years and years, decades and decades. But we didn't have a Squad, I think back in 2008. We didn't have a Squad before that, right? That's a new development. And, the awareness going on in social media right now about what's happening in Gaza is a new development, right? It really doesn't have a precedent to it before today, which is to say that, I think it's an MLK quote that I might be paraphrasing a bit, which is, the arc of the universe is long, takes a long time to get there, but it bends to justice, right? Which is to say that, am I proud of any of the decisions we've made regarding our foreign policy in the last few months? Probably not. I could say definitely not. But do I think that we will never get it right? No. I think at some point we will get the right advisors, the right politicians, the right leaders in the right positions to make better judgments that benefit not only those outside of the U.S., but those inside the U.S. as well.
And that starts with people like us speaking up, or even if it's not just with Gaza, it's with, people want healthcare, people want the ability to get an education without taking a massive loan. These are issues that are at the forefront. And I feel that not just Democrats, but Republicans too, have a concern for where the country's heading, and they have very different ways of addressing it. But when it comes to the actual representatives that we have in office, their focus is not on the people. Their focus is on what the corporations that are paying their campaigns, what do they want what legislation do they want to see passed?
Yeah, so as you might be able to tell from the tone of my answers, I am always a seat at the table type person, right? I think that some people believe, the institution is corrupt, the institution is deeply flawed, burn it down or reject it or whatever. And while I think a lot of those criticisms can be legitimate, I do think that the way things move forward is to come with your opinions, not waver from your principles, but find the way to deliver them with the right language and the right methods to get them incorporated. And so, yeah, healthcare, education, foreign policy, whatever your issue is, I think these are things that need substantially new input, kind of contrasted to the folks who've been handling it so far. And I think that hopefully through organizations such as your 99 Coalition and through the work of a lot of hard-working young men and women, those voices can get a seat at the table and make a difference moving forward.
Yeah, no, that would be great. That we feel like we have a voice, and I think the current situation, whether it's regarding Gaza or whether it's regarding previous atrocities, whether it's here, school shooting, or it's a mass shooting, or any other type of atrocity, COVID, it feels that because we have things like social media now and people are learning about, hey, this has been going on for XYZ, and hey, this is what our politicians are doing. Hey, this is the average age of a member of Congress. It's that people are, I don't want to say people are losing trust, but they're at least uncovering the masks that were previously there, uncovering the barriers that were previously there. So with that said, what would you say is, I'm not expecting you to have a solution, but what can someone at home who's watching this podcast do as a call to action?
Yeah, I mean, so many things, right? I mean, make sure that you are. Let me say it this way, right? I'm a religious person. I always like to go back to the hadith. There's a hadith of the Prophet, which ironically, President Biden, I think himself had shared at some point, which is, when you see something wrong, when you see something that you disagree with, there are 3 levels of response, right? 1 is to take action, right? So if you have the ability to donate, great. If you have the ability to mobilize folks, great. If you have the ability to join organizations, wonderful. If you have the ability to write papers, to write articles, to engage in discussions with your fellow coworkers, people, and so on, all that's wonderful. Do those things, right? If you can't, then use your words, right? Speak with people, tweet, post, text, get out the message, right? And then at the bottom level is what you do in your heart, right? Don't accept injustice. Don't accept things that are wrong as just the inevitable, unchangeable status quo, right? That's how things kind of consolidate, or how they firm up, is that people just accept them, right? But so long as you're constantly pushing, it's kind of like, coming back from Iceland, so I'll use this as an example. It's kind of like the rainwater that falls on the rock over and over again, right? And as it falls, it creates more and more cracks, right? And the rock becomes more porous. And all of a sudden, before you know it, this like rock hard table or whatever that seems like nothing could ever break through it, the cracks get wider, and they crack, right? I think it's the exact same thing, is that a persistent wave of belief and speaking the truth in whatever manner and method that you have the ability to do makes a difference. That's what I'd recommend.